Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhavatapa Pranashinne Ananda Khanamurtaye Jnana Bhakti Pradayine Matastubhyam Namo Namaha. Jai Ma. Okay. I was telling you in the last video how Ma used to teach a lot of things to us, like she taught us how to make Brahma Khichdi. And that incident is also interesting. Once Swami Bhaskaranand ji had come to Bombay. And we were all, there was this satsang. Obviously, when Swamiji came, the whole world would be there. So he told me, let's make Brahma Khichdi for everybody. And we were expecting like 5-6 people or something like that, and about 50 turned up. So he told me, chop the vegetables, do this, do that, So I was helping him. And then I suddenly said, Swamiji, we thought like only 20 people were, 5-10 people were coming, but there are 50 who've turned up. Now what do we do? He says, doesn't matter, we'll make more. I said, okay. So he says, you cut some more vegetables. So I chopped all the vegetables and everything. And he said, now the cooking I will do. I said, okay, fine. So he took everything in the kitchen and started cooking and everything. The food was ready, the Brahma Khichdi was ready. Then he asked me to put it on the table and lay the thalis and plates and everything for people. And I called everyone and said that Swamiji has made the prasad for everyone. So come and have the prasad. So people were very thrilled. Swamiji ke haath se khana jo banta tha, it was superb. Okay. So they all sat down and I started eating, and Swamiji was taking around exactly like Ma, when people would be eating. I remember in my childhood when we would be eating, Ma would come and, inspect everything, that whether people are being fed properly, whether they've got everything, and she would see each and every one like that, So Swamiji came and he started seeing everything. When things got over, he asked me, Kaisa tha khana, how was the food? So I said, it was delicious. When you make it, obviously it was delicious, He said, no, it wasn't. So I looked at him and I said, what? He said, thoda kacha nahi tha? Wasn't it a little raw? The vegetables were not cooked properly. So I said, oh God. So I said, yes, Swamiji, the vegetables were a little raw. See, you have to be that straight. We have this habit socially that, when you, even if you don't like something, you'll say, no, it's very nice and this, that. It doesn't work in this spiritual life. It doesn't work. You have to be very upfront about everything. So he says, nahi, thoda kacha tha. So I said, haan, Swamiji, thoda kacha tha, but swad bahut badhiya tha. He said, Now, you see, when guests would arrive, the teachings we got from Ma, very particular. Supposing somebody has come to stay in the ashram, So Ma would make sure that we went to the rooms, all the girls were instructed, बिस्तर ठीक से होना चाहिए, चद्दर जो है वो ठीक से खींच के उसको नीचे ऐसे डाल के, there should not be a single crease, you should not be able to see on the chaddar, on the sheet that you lay on the bed. The corners have to be tucked in properly, no creases, nothing. All the cobwebs from the room have to be removed. Take a broom, remove all the cobwebs, clean the fans, clean everything. The bathroom has to be spick and span. So scrub with whatever detergents you have. Take your buckets and brooms and mops and everything and clean everything. The potties have to be clean. Everything has to be clean. There have to be fresh towels, fresh hand towels over there, separate hand towel, a towel for a shower. And then you have to have soap, small soap for washing hands, big soap for your shower. And then once the guest arrives, you have to light an incense in the room. Agarbatti jalao, candle rakho, machis ka dabba rakho. Everything has to be thought of. Keep water in the room, keep water bottles, glasses, so that when they come, they're tired, they need all the comfort that you can give in an ashram. And then once they come for bhojan, for prasad, you have to stand behind them and see that they are served properly. And after the food is over, when they go to wash their hands, a soap has to be kept over there. A hand towel has to be provided to them. Once they finish and wipe their hands and everything, then you have to give them mouth fresheners like mukwas, So like saunf or something, fennel seeds or something you have to give them so that they freshen their mouths also. See how much detailing she taught us, which is so wonderful because Ma was a complete perfectionist. I remember there was a time when, I don't know whether you know Chitradi, but she was in Ma's Seva for a long time and she was a very educated, I think she was a PhD. And she was a sadhika in Ma's ashram and very learned, very educated. In her last days, she could not see, she could not hear, and she had become very old. So that was the time she came to Bombay and she had requested another Guru Bhai of ours called Ajay Sopuri, he's not there anymore, to bring her to my house. And she had got Ma's Paduka for me, the original slippers that Ma wore, in her feet. And that was her puja slipper. And she had got that. She got a little datun, like a little stick which Ma used to brush, they used to brush her teeth with. It was so tiny. Ma used to brush her, they used to make Ma chew on it actually. So she brought all those things for me. She came to my house and she stayed here for a little bit. And then she said, I've got all this, can I go to your puja room? I said, of course, Chitradi, So she went to my puja room, put the padukas, I still have them. And she said, I know that you'll take care of Ma's paduka, so you will do puja on this because now I'm not able to see, not able to hear. And these are the original Ma's chappals, So you take care of it. I said, thank you so much. I was looking for a paduka since so long. And finally, Ma sends it through you. I had asked so many people in the ashram, so many sadhikas, and they said, you're very late because, when Ma left, all her padukas were distributed to people. Now we don't have, and whatever we have is our puja thing. So nobody's going to give it to you. I said, no, I have this thing that I want Ma's paduka, and see how Ma sends Chitradi. She used to live in Calcutta. And she came with the padukas to my house. Now, who sends all this? Who does all this, So obviously, you know it. So she gave this to me. I was very emotional at that time. I was very choked. Both of us were sitting in my mandir in the house. And she laid the padukas over there. And then she had a request. She said, can you take me to Pune ashram? Now I've become so old and everything. I can't travel on my own. And I would like to go visit Pune ashram. So will you come with me? I said, of course I'll come with you. So we went with her, me, Ajay Sopuri and Chitradi. Now after the trip from Pune, she came back to Bombay. And she said, look, I'm going by train to Calcutta. And it takes me like 2 days and 3 nights or something like that, to reach Calcutta. So on the way, they were all Shuddhacharis, so they wouldn't eat anything from the train. They would carry their own box of food and whatever, their dabbas, So she said, do you know how to make fried rice? She asked me. I said, yes, Chitradi, I know. Oh, okay. Can you make some fried rice for me so I can carry it with me? I said, sure. She says, you know how to make puri bhaji? I said, yes, Chitradi. So she says, will you make some puri bhaji for me? I said, okay, I'll make puri bhaji for you. Do you have some achar in the pickle in the house? I said, yes, I do. So she says, will you put that also? I said, yes. What else do you know? I said, no, I know everything. You tell me what you want and I will cook everything. So the list went on and on and on and on. And finally she said, I've ordered too many things from you. Is it okay? I said, no, it's perfectly all right, Chitradi. I will make it, So comes the time when she has to be, this tiffin has to be delivered to her. And I wasn't going to the station to drop her. It was Ajay who was going. So I told Ajay, when you go, will you pick up her tiffin from the house? And I will keep everything ready in a basket so that it's very comfortable for her. So, as usual, when you go for a picnic, what do? You put paper plates and, forks and knives and spoons and glasses and water bottles and, all the boxes of food. I had made a tiffin for her. So, I packed it on all different boxes and kept it in the basket with little paper napkins and everything, I thought of everything. And I arranged. I said, as it is, she's so old. And how will she manage in the train if I don't give her all this, She should be comfortable. So I packed everything in this basket and I gave it to Ajay, and he took the whole basket to the station and dropped her. Now, when she reached Calcutta, she sent me a most beautiful postcard saying that, my God, if Ma was around, she would have been so proud of you because you're just a perfectionist. I said, oh my God, I still have the postcard with me. She's no more. And she said, everything you thought of, right from paper plates to hand, paper towels and everything you had kept in the thing. This is what Ma was all about, perfectionist. She thought of every little detail, like how you have done. And if Ma was here today and she would see you this way, she would have been really proud of you. And I'm so proud of you. So I said, thank you so much, Chitradi. And in a couple of months, she passed away, But I was very touched when she sent me this postcard. So that's how Ma was, you have to be perfect in whatever you do. In between, what had happened, all these incidents went on in my life, in my journey, like I'm talking about my journey. So this was so many different experiences I went through. And I think, Swami Bhaskaranand left his body in 2010. I'm talking about 10 or 12 years before that. He had once come to Bombay. And when Bhaskaranji came to Bombay, there was like a mela, like so many people would turn up, because Bhaskaranji was Bhaskaranji. So they would come for his darshan, and there was so much of a crowd and so much of everything happening that you hardly got a chance to really be with him. So I decided one day that I will go. He was staying in somebody's house, a devotee's house in Bombay, in South Bombay. So I said, it's close to my house. Let me go very early in the morning. I'd say 6:37, I will leave. And I will go and sit with him because that is an hour when nobody comes that early. So I'll have some time to sit with him. And then the crowd starts coming, then I will leave. So I went very early. Like I must have left the house at 6:30 or so, and I reached at 7. When I entered the house, he was sitting on the floor and he was having his breakfast. So in his breakfast, he was having a papaya. And the lady of the house, the hostess, she was in the kitchen cooking for him, So she would be in and out kind of thing. And he was sitting on the floor. So those days I could sit on the floor, and I sat next to him on the floor. And I was looking at him. And he was so affectionate that day. He's never done this before, but he was having his papaya. So he ate one morsel and fed me one morsel. So, I ate that and I was choked. And I said, he's never done this before, but he was actually feeding me. And then he looks at me, his face had changed, okay? His voice had changed. Now you have to be very, like I said, on this path, you have to be very receptive, very aware, and your antennas have to be charged all the time, So I noticed that his voice had changed, his face had changed, and he was different. He looks at me and he says, "Tum sannyas le lo." For a minute I thought, what is he talking? So I thought I had heard wrong, I said, what? I asked him. So he says, किसी को दिखाने की जरूरत नहीं है, किसी को बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. You don't have to show anybody anything. You don't have to tell anything to anybody. But you take sannyas, he said. And I thought something's wrong with him today. I said, so before I could say anything, the lady came again to serve him something. And so the conversation got cut off over there. But it was like we were in this mood, or this situation was, say, 3 or 4 minutes, okay, where his face had changed, his tone had changed, and he said this to me. I was in a daze. So it takes me time to react immediately. I can't react when somebody says something like this. So I didn't say anything, but it was simmering within me. What did he say to me? I kept quiet, the lady came, and then everything was back to normal as if nothing had happened, and he had his breakfast, and then we were chit-chatting about this, that and the other, but this was going on in my mind. After a month or two, probably, I met him in one of the ashrams, after this incident. And when I walked up to him and I said, "Swamiji, what did you tell me that day?" He said, "What? Nothing." that was over. So who was it that said that day to me? Why did his face change? Why did his tone change? And when I asked him after a month or two, it is like he never said anything. What was that? Question mark. I said, okay, must be something, I don't know why he said all these things to me, and what was the meaning, and it always goes on simmering. After this particular incident, I think 10 or 12 years went by when I really didn't pay attention to what he had said. I just put it at the back of my mind and I said, I don't want to dwell in it. I'm not going to even think about it and forget it. But believe me, those 10, 12 years, somebody or the other would come to my house and give me a gherua shawl, gherua sari, gherua some chadar, gherua something, saffron something. And Ma's very clear instructions are that if you're not a sannyasi, you cannot accept a gherua from anybody. And you cannot wear a gherua from anybody if you're not a sannyasi. So I said, I don't know why people are giving me all these things, and I would say, no, I'm not a sannyasi or anything, and I can't accept all these gherua things that you people come and give me. In fact, there was one sadhu who gave it to me also and when I said, no, I can't accept, they said, keep it in your some place if you can't accept, but we are not taking it back. So what I used to do is collect all the geruas that I got as presents, whether it was a towel also, if it was gerua, I would not use it. I would collect all these things in the cabinet in my mandir. I would just keep everything there. This went on and I still didn't realize what was happening. Like, since I'm talking about gerua, I remember there was this incident when one person had come to our ashram, which ashram again I don't remember. He had walked in a saffron robe, gerua vastra, somebody. And Ma was there in that ashram that time. And she said, who is this person who's coming in gerua? So people said, we don't know, it's somebody must be a sadhu. So Ma called this person and said, who are you and what? Then she got to know, he narrated his story and said he was frustrated in the house. He was fed up of his family life, his wife, his children and all that. And he was an escapist. He wanted to run away from the house, so he just put on the saffron robe and said he was a sadhu. Ma said, immediately go into that room, take off your saffron clothes, put on your normal clothes, and you're a householder. You have to perform your duties, so go back to your wife and children and try and understand them and make your family life a happy life. This is not the way to become a sannyasi. This is not sannyas. This is escapism. So you cannot escape from your duties in life. Sannyas happens only when you're ready within. It is not a physical thing. It's not something that outwardly you say, okay, I'm going to put on the saffron robe and I'm a sannyasi today. Excuse me, sannyas is not something that you play around with. It's not like that. So that is the incident I thought I would narrate, that, it's not a joke to put on saffron clothes. I think that's all for today. We will continue in the next video. Jai Ma. Om Bhavatap Pranashinne Ananda Ghanamurte Jnana Bhakti Pradayinne Matastubhyam Namo Namaha. Jai Ma. Jai Ma.